What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 11 of the Dust 2 Double Doors podcast. It's me.
Crazy how time flies.
As with 10 out of the 11 episodes, it's me, Ryan, at Dust 2. Liam, you've been there for, I don't even know how many. You did last week.
And 10 out of 11, I think. I missed the one with Daps, I think.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, anyways, we're back, or I'm back from the major. I can tell you that was a lot. That was a 2 weeks. As you can see, I've also got all this hair on me, which is just miserable. But you know, we have to do it in the name of Movember, which is going to be happening in this weekend. So for the Mustache Masters, I'll be having this awful thing as I think I was so detached from this year's organization because I was like, I'm in Rio for 2 weeks in the lead up. I was like, you guys cannot count on me this year to like help out. I'm gonna show up and like that is pretty much what I'm gonna do here. You're gonna tell me that there are some like goals for me and I'm just gonna do them. I'm like, let's go. So the one thing I did say is that I really don't want my head shaved. So I'm hoping that stays away. I think the hair thing I'm not gonna do.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, Major was good. Major was an interesting time. 2 weeks down in Rio. How was it as a viewer? You obviously watching lots of games.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like, I think it's a fair point to say that the upsets kind of take a bit away from it. And obviously it's not like the underdog team's fault that they're beating these teams. That like it's more on the teams like FaZe, Vitality, Navi were underwhelming even though they made playoffs. Like it's kind of hard to get into it as a viewer when you're watching like teams that like you didn't really come to see. But
Yeah.
I was genuinely happy that like teams like Heroic, teams like Fnatic were doing really well at it. I really, really wanted Heroic to win the major so bad. I muted the word Jame on my Twitter feed afterwards because I just couldn't cope with outsiders winning. But no, it was good. Like there were some good games. I think like the most impressive thing, I can't remember what interview it was, is like the level of teams since Antwerp has gone up so much. Like the likes of like there's a reason that there were so many upsets happening. Like if teams like FaZe and Vitality aren't going to show up, these teams that you wouldn't expect to beat them other times of the year are going to show up and beat them here. So
100%. No, I the quality of teams has gone up. I also feel that like there was definitely if you are not a partner team, like they also really showed up. Like I think there was a good argument for like the open circuit once again proves that like teams that aren't always in these things are good. Namely, like outsiders. They're not a partner team. They win a major. Like, which do they get to go into these part? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like you can have these teams still be so good, even though they're not always as part of these leagues and things.
yeah.
But
what was it like? What was it like down in Rio? You have to tell us what it was like.
Well, Rio is interesting. Also, sorry for the lag. I guess my internet's been a little shit, so I can like see myself lagging. It's just unfortunate. Yeah, now that I can do it right now, we're trying to get it fixed. But yeah, no, being in Rio was really cool. It was a lot of fun actually. I get down there and I'm with Lucas from HLTV, Striker, all these other guys. Like it's pretty much like it's a very solid crew of people. And I like saw the forecast and I was like, oh, it's gonna probably rain. Like it's Rio, like it's Brazil, and I should bring a jacket. I bring one, but does not have a sunny day for like the first 10 days. Just pours every day. Like it was miserable for like 10 days. And we're like, oh, our hotel is a pool. Never even put my feet in the pool. Just never even put my feet in the pool. Now, whether or not that was like we were working too much or like doing too much, who knows? But like, yeah, it was rainy. They also had us, and it's kind of ESL's fault, but not too bad. They had to put us in, so there was Rio Centro, which is where they had all of the like all the games going on, and they had all the staff and the offices and stuff like that behind stage, and they had a little tiny press area to do the interviews. But the press room itself was in a hotel next door in the cafeteria area. Like they had like a, I don't even like a self-serve, like buffet style, and then
Yeah.
here's the dining room. There we are, and they just cordoned it off. And I'm not kidding. I heard the same. It's the same. All the music that was playing in there were the soft rock covers of every major pop song since the early 2000s, just playing over and over again. And I swear to God, I almost bashed my head in. I was like, I cannot do this. This is terrible. This is miserable. Um, and then the other bad part was because it was raining so much, we would have to have all of our expensive camera equipment and all of our expensive stuff, carry it over through the middle of the rain to get into the arena to do it. And then, there were questions about the security team and stuff like that. So like
Yeah.
overall, honestly, like
we saw what happened to Adela from ESL. Like her camera was taken from that area, I'm pretty sure. So
it was I don't know how much I really want to say, but like she left the camera on her desk in the media room for the photographers, and it was one of her 2 cameras. She goes out, she does a bunch of photos. She comes back, it's gone. And she like freaks out and she's like, did I leave it somewhere? Is it no. It was gone. Someone took it. And that was the bad part. And and then the weirdest thing was the reactions to that. You see all the reactions to her like tweet.
I only seen the positive stuff when people are like retweeting and stuff and saying like.
So people were positive on it. On Reddit, they were like, wow, this sucks. This is so bad. She should set up a GoFundMe. Like, this is awful. It sucks in Rio. Like, yeah, I guess it happens. And then Twitter people were like, oh, well, you're an idiot for just leaving it out in the open. And like some of the Reddit comments were like that too. They were like, why would you just leave a camera just like out there? Of course it's going to get stolen. Bro, no. Like,
No,
you have to present a security badge to get behind there. Like, security was super, super tight. Like, crazy tight. Like, you got wanded all the time. They searched your bags all the time. Like, it was so it was like kind of crazy how someone was able to just walk out with it. So yeah, so it was nuts, and people like blaming her. It was like, you have no idea what happened at all. It was pretty shitty. But other than that, it was pretty cool. And then the Je ne sais Arena was pretty sick as well. Honestly, it was pretty sick.
It looked like a pretty cool setup. So
it was dope. It was a dope setup. But and we'll talk about this probably like when we talk about like in the gossip section about like the crowd. The floor seats sucked. They were the worst seats in the entire house. They were absolutely awful. It was like ESL screwed up, and I don't think that they like really understood how badly they screwed up. Because the problem is, right? And also the other problem is camera angle. Because no one wanted to sit down on the floor. Even when they bought those tickets, they were like, they're seeing it on tiny screens. They're not seeing it on the big overhead arena screen. So everyone that's on the first floor is like, well, fuck this. I'm just going to go sit all the way up.
So I can actually see.
So what they would literally do is, if you actually looked, and ESL should have figured this out sooner, everyone in the upper rafters, it's packed. And they're packed on the exact sides where the giant arena screen is, right? There's none in the corners because you can't actually see what's going on. But they're all there. And there's also like no assigned seating. They just stand or sit wherever they want. And that's just part of how the culture is. So that's why there was no one on the floor at all, ever. It was always like the upper rafters and that mid-tier rafters was like people could get the best view of the game off the big screens, and they could look down and see the players. So it was just like, and it was loud, and it was cool, and it was great. And the fan fest was also cool. But we can talk about that when we talk about crowds.
Girls.
Thank you, producer Martin, once again for a standout fucking title.
Totally.
But yeah, okay. So the challenger stage. Whew. I have many thoughts on the challenger stage as I bring over the notes here. What a bad showing by the Americas.
Yeah,
that was terrible.
I've just seen who you put as the first 2 teams to talk about. These are the 2 that me and Mike ripped into on the last
Did you?
podcast on episode 10. Like, to like the biggest disappointment. Like for me, 0 0 Nation were the biggest disappointment, and then with Imperial, Mike was like, I expected nothing from them anyway, so 0 3 is like, yeah, it's pretty standard. Like
What,
so
out of Imperial or 0 0 Nation?
with Imperial, Mike was like, that's what I expected.
Yeah.
Like I expected nothing. But 0 0 Nation, both of us agreed, severely, severely underwhelming, especially when you look at the way that this project was built. They were gathering steam coming towards this. They looked nice at the Ormore, and then just completely shit the bed here. I the thing is with 0 0 Nation is I can kind of give them a small bit of leeway because it's three teenagers, and like even though you have the crowd behind you, it's still a lot of pressure of, oh
Oh
my
yeah.
god, this crowd is behind me so much. Like it's gonna be a massive letdown if I don't perform here, and that gets in your head. Like they don't have a lot of stage presence between the three of them. Like obviously Cold and Taco do, but yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's still
it's
pretty
just
tough.
it is, yeah. And with Imperial, like I don't know what more you can say. Like I think Fallen's
Okay,
like,
Imperial is a little tough because you play two top five teams in the world out of your three games. That is unfortunate. The thing is, they should have won that Cloud9 game because they were just all they had to do was win 2 rounds. All
eh,
they had to do all no, all they had to do was win 2 rounds. 15-6,
yeah,
15-9.
yeah.
Come on.
It's embarrassing to give them two away, but honestly, like Cloud9 for the rest of the say if Cloud9 went out immediately afterwards, fair enough. Cloud9 backs against the wall this major, so damn hard to beat until you get to
Pretty
playoffs, and then
insane.
so damn hard to beat until you get to playoffs and they shit the bed again. But no, like they should have beat 9Z. Like if you're Imperial, like the names there, like you need to beat 9Z, man. Like I
No,
like
listen,
9Z.
9Z, they showed up well. They really
I
showed
like
up well.
I like 9Z, but just even on paper, like Imperial, like realistically, if you want, like you're at, this is what you built to. This is the last dance. The last dance where you fucking like your heel broke, dress is ripped, falling on the ground, you're crying, your family's there watching. Like that's what the last dance was for
Yeah.
Imperial and Rio. But like, someone save Cello. Someone
How
save
can you say
Cello.
save cello? They just here's the thing. I don't think it's a save cello. They just bought cello. This
But this
Imperial
was what they were
project.
building up to. This is what's next. They're
Yeah.
going to
Well,
Paris. The Paris major? No, they're not. They had
probably
plot
are.
armor at the Orm.
They're
They had
probably they
plot.
probably are.
No, they had plot armor for this major. You're telling me that Complexity are losing that matchup again? No, they had plot armor for this major, and they got
Oh
there. Like
god.
I'm happy that they got there and that they got to play in front of the crowd. But like it was
Yeah.
just like, and I don't know if we're gonna talk about it. That show match is fucking so embarrassing. Like
What do you
the fact
mean?
that the fact that they pracked, and took a show match that seriously. No one
No, I love
cared.
that. No, I
No
love
one.
that.
No, you didn't. You didn't have to write about it. Like I was like, I was like, show matches. The one in Antwerp took it over the top. I would say that much. But like, I love show matches where there's like a couple of casters thrown in. There's personalities. You're getting Zeus's out. You're getting knives. It's supposed to build the crowd up. And considering like how dead the final was, they did not need to like stomp and
It's
then just
what okay,
slow.
but the final wasn't anyone else's like fault or responsibility. It could have very well been Furia in there.
But the crowd didn't care about the show match either. I could tell. Like
Okay,
they
no,
they
no, 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 no. That's not true.
the
There were
fallen one v
lines.
three.
No, there were lines out the friggin' door. There were
No, but they
people
weren't
still
allowed.
waiting.
Like I don't know whether
That's
it's the
fine.
stream or not.
That's
They
fine.
weren't
But there were
allowed.
literally people waiting like hours to get into the arena, like during the show match. Like I went outside. I was like, "Where is everyone?" Boom, line is out the door. Like there were easily two to 400 people waiting.
I don't know. I just like it didn't seem like they built up the crowd, and like that show match.
Well, I'm sorry. How do you
I
really want to build up the crowd? Like
put the
they came
show
to
in.
see
Put the
Brazil win, and
show.
Brazil
Put
won.
put the show in show match. Have a bit of style. Like the Fallen 1v3. That's the only time that they got hyped, and I was like, that's a
And
good
that was the
play.
end.
Yeah, that was the end. That was the closer. But yeah, I don't know what else you can say about the two Brazilian teams that went 0-3. It's just like with the Imperial, it's what I expect. I think it's hard to look at that team now and say where else do they go. This was very obviously what they were building up to.
Well,
Fallen says that he's going for another year. What's the
doubt it.
goal?
Doubt it.
No, yeah.
I don't like the guy that I forget who said it, but like they're already going ahead and talking about retiring. You're retired.
Oh yeah,
Like he's gone.
like they're
And
not like
listen, he's had a great career. He's going out kind of on a low note. He's doing it with the style, but he's done. And if I'm Imperial organization, listen, all you got what you wanted. You got a team with Fallen to the major in Brazil. They did it. They did what they set out to do. So let's give them that credit from a marketing perspective. They did it.
yeah.
Now is the time that they have to move on. And they have to start planning for the real thing. Because if you're investing $300,000 into someone like Cello, you need to you need to get it going. Vinny
Yeah.
has to stay. He's too young. But like
Someone in chat made a good point. Does he come back for IEM Rio next year, and that's their send
well, he
off?
comes back for IEM Rio, but that's not a send off. It's too early.
Wait,
And
when
also,
is
yeah, IEM Rio. God, well, technically it's not IEM Rio.
IEM Brazil?
IEM Brazil, which ESL has not announced, but every sign says it's going to be Rio. It's going to be 2023. So,
Yeah,
like,
unless they do
God,
something like Sao Paulo or something, but I don't know what the venues are like there.
Belo Horizonte. Who
Belo
knows?
Horizonte. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that just like, but Fallen said it. I think Fur's on his last legs. Like, I think those two guys are
First
going to
said he
be.
wanted to retire before this major, which
I
just
know
kind of says it all. Like
it's
that's the guy.
it's
That's the guy
it's
that's
not
playing the game of
good.
Face It, and he wants to disconnect before the game's over.
He's
Like,
typing
come on,
forfeit in
we
chat.
we can win this, and he's like, no, no, I'm going to bed. He's type quitting console. He's done. He wants a good night's rest.
He's lost too much elo. He's like, I can't do
He's
this. I
down.
can't.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
done.
down bad for the elo.
No, it's
Um,
tough. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. I just I don't know. The team is obviously dead.
yeah,
It's bad. But talking about EG, it's not like they fared much better. They did what Zero Zero Nation couldn't, and they beat IHC. That match was something close, though. I think that was like
USA,
16-13. That
USA,
was a tough one,
US.
though. God, that was a tough one. But I think losses to Mao's respectable. Lost to Cloud9 that was coming back. They should have beaten Cloud9, I feel like, but they didn't. So
Yeah.
I mean, both were playoff teams. The loss versus 9Z hurts because they really should have won that. Like
They threw
I
that
think
game
they
hard.
threw that game exceptionally hard. So if they
Yeah.
don't, then they're 2-1, which opens a completely different door. And then they have like two more chances to lose it all or advance. And I don't know.
Even
Is
just
there
looking
is
at
there
the
a
result,
world where it could have happened? Probably.
even just looking at the result of seeing them go 2-3, it's like, yeah, like it just looks a bit more respectable than going in 1-3, especially off like whatever bit of momentum they had built with like the EPL getting some wins under their belts, like doing pretty good at the Ormore. Um, I don't know. I said it on the last podcast with EG. They did like it was fine. Like I didn't.
Yeah,
I don't think many
like
people.
they did exactly how I kind of figured they would. Like I
Yeah,
didn't
I have
think
them
that
at
they would
one.
advance, but like
Yeah, 1-3, 2-3. But I still think it's it's time for Cirque to go. Like I
I think they're not getting rid of him, man. They're
no,
not
they're
getting
not.
unless
But I'm
unless they think that Wiz is ready.
like
I
my
don't see
final
it.
straw. My final straw with Cirque was months ago. But I also did say like if he doesn't show up at this major, then it is time to go. Like he was their highest rated player, but he was their upper and he was posting a .90 or something. Like it was just
Yeah,
sad in general in terms of the stats that they posted. But like even from events prior, like you can see Breeze is having a bit of a comeback. Automatic is just solid.
yeah.
Hex look very, very nervous here to
Of
me.
course he did.
Yeah,
It's
like
his like
as
first real event in front of a crowd. It was
I mean,
nuts.
it was what's his name? The dude for Outsiders. What's his name? The new player that they brought in. It was his first major, and he won it.
It was like all of their majors. Dude,
Yeah,
they're built different though. They are just so
those
built different. It's
damn.
insane.
Why can't Nealon just instill some Eastern Europeanness and
They're
get?
trying. They're trying their best.
But yeah, no, like you could tell he was nervous. It's fine. Like he was playing frags at the start of this year, as you pointed out that it was your first interview with Dust2 US.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think if they want to be a serious team, they need a better upper, and there's nothing really else I can say about EG because it's just like they're just going to
That's
keep
tough.
being at this level. I don't think there's
That
a much
is
higher
true.
ceiling
That
for
is
EG
true. They
currently.
need to change something to advance upward. So,
Should we talk
and
about
then,
Furia?
well, I mean, not really a whole lot. I think that
Yeah.
like they made the playoffs. We could talk about them in the Legend stage of playoffs, but like they made playoffs. Their loss was to Big, definitely a one-off because Big are BO1 merchants. Like, who the fuck cares about Big? They're just annoying. Did Big
Maui
even?
Snake
Yeah, and
cares about
Big
Big.
ended up qualifying out of it because again they're BO1 merchants. 9Z I think were the interesting ones here. Going 2-3 better than I think
Yeah.
anyone thought. Well, the third best America's team, the only second best out of the ones that were in the challenger stage.
Yeah.
It's tough because their loss was really tough because it cost us now a spot in the Americas. So there's only 5 teams that are now going to the Americas. And we still only have one legend spot thanks to Furia. We could have had 2, but Liquid now, motherfuckers.
Bro.
Yeah, I guess we can talk. I guess we can. I mean, I don't really have much to say about 9Z other than that, like, they're young kids. They look fucking good. I'm like excited to see the evolution. Like 9Z supremacy. Let's go.
They're the ones for me, like when people say the South American passion or whatever, like when they play, you can
They
see how
personify it.
damn much it means to them. Like they put everything into this game. And it's good to see them trending upwards. Like I believe they've done better than they did at the last major. They qualified for both, which is like,
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know. I feel like 9Z is not a name that's on the lips of a lot of like casual fans around the Americas.
No.
But like, yeah, fair play to them. Like Gamer Legion, Big and Fnatic, they're 3 big EU teams. Like Gamer Legion beat G2, so
Oh yeah. No. I mean, and I think that it was very funny also that Gamer Legion going up 2-0 and then just losing
there's always one at every
everything.
major.
That's pretty bad. Well, I just found it funny how like Gamer Legion and Cloud9 passing ships in the night. 0-2 to 3-2, 2-0
Yeah, actually.
to 2-3. But yeah, all right, moving on to the legend stage here. Liquid, lots to talk about. So much to
Uh,
talk about on Liquid.
yeah, I believe
This
that there
is
might be a
tough.
Dust2.us article coming out this week
Are you gonna
evaluating
tell your
Liquid as
own
well.
piece that isn't even like fully
I bel
edited and revised
I
yet?
said it's on the way. I have so much to say about this. I'm so pissed. I'm so angry that Liquid did badly. I'm so pissed. I had such high because okay, when you look back in retrospect, and we all love looking back in retrospect,
God, I have the perfect 2020 vision goggles when I look back.
2020 vision, probably the best chance for Liquid to win a major if
Yes.
they get out of this Legend stage and make it to the playoffs. Like
Yes.
in terms of name value on paper, they're like all those teams were so beatable for Liquid in terms of like
Oh,
in
100%.
terms of matchups. I think like I would have like inform Liquid, like if they had actually bothered to show up in Rio, they could have beat like any of those teams in my opinion. Like they showed it against Navi with the comeback. Like they're more than
No.
capable of beating a team like Navi. Furia and Liquid on the stage would have been a banger matchup.
Oh my
I think
God.
they I think
Could you
if
have
they're
imagined a Furia Liquid final?
oh my god, you would have
Dude.
been stabbed, bro. But like, if we had the Liquid that showed
Ugh.
up at EPL, or even the one at Cologne, or even the one at the RMR, they stood a really good chance of winning
Yeah.
Liquid's first major. And it's just really disappointing that they didn't even make it out of Legends, because I had them minimum playoffs. Like they were like locked in for me. I had so much faith in them. They looked nice coming into this event. There was nothing that I could pinpoint as like, okay, this is going to be the issue that lets them down. And who would have thought it was their 2 star players not really showing up? Like there was we had a bit of a joke in the Discord. We are like, oh, can Ryan, can you go find out if Kinder's actually landed in Rio? I don't see him. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That
what do you
that
think?
one that one was tough. I mean, Yakinder clearly felt obviously that he wasn't performing when he was there. I think he took the loss the hardest, especially after Spirit. You could see on his face and everything as well. I don't have a good explanation for what happened. Right, like the team. What was funny was that they lose against Mouse. Right, okay. They go back to the hotel. They know exactly what happened. They talk about it. They come back. They face Sprout, same map, 16-5. Like boom, they're there. Okay, Then it's 2-1, and then they got to play Navi the next day. Okay, well now everyone's thinking it's a 1-2. Nope, they're able to come back on Ancient against Navi, and now they're 2-1. Right? They're looking unbeatable. They're looking like, oh my god, that mouse game is a fluke. They play heroic. They have heroic's number, and for some reason, this team just they're not there. It's like you're looking at it and you're like, why? Like you do this. You normally do this. You normally hit these. What's happening? Why is this not clicking? And you try to understand, and the answer is, not our day. Well, that's not acceptable.
No.
You can't have a not my day at the major. Your not my day was the mouse game. That was your not my day. It's and yeah, it was just tough. I mean, this Liquid team genuinely believed that they deserved to go to the playoffs. They should have.
They should have.
They should have gone to the playoffs. Yakinder had his worst game, his worst event, and we were talking about it since like 2021, like since the online era. Like he wasn't there. But when you look at the stats, when you look at his games, sometimes it's like, oh, no, it's okay. And then in the big games, it was not happening. The Spirit game was fucked from the beginning. Apparently in the 2-week boot camp or whatever pre-major, Liquid and Spirit boot camped each other, and it was just like Spirit just rung their bell every single scrim. Just knew exactly how to play them, knew exactly what to do. And they were like, yeah, we know it. They're like, when we got Spirit, that was the toughest matchup we could have gotten. Because the play styles are just so different. If they got Cloud9, if they had anyone else, I genuinely think like would have gone through. It just was the seeding. It just was the team. And that was the team that they could not play. So
yeah, we don't have any reason to cover them considering they're not NA, but a big shout out to Spirit and especially Chopper. Like, how many IGLs can you think of that you take away his star upper after the previous major? He gets some random kid that no one's really heard of, 17 years old.
He was kind of tearing it up.
Yeah, for Hellraisers. Like Hellraisers in 2022. Like, what was the last Hellraisers game you watched, Ryan?
Well, God, please! I don't watch European CS.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't turn. That's why I didn't turn on Elisa today.
He's 17, making his major debut, and he takes them to playoffs again, back-to-back playoffs for Spirit and Chopper. And like, this team's
Chopper's good.
Upwards.
Chopper's good. What can you say?
The Chopper thumbs up.
Yeah, but yeah, and then I don't even have a lot of comments about Furia 3-0. Just they fuck.
We were gonna say that.
And they played ENCE Spirit big. They got their revenge over big, like easy
because it wasn't a best of one.
Wasn't a best of one.
Yeah, like you said, when we're going through the challenger stage, no point talking about Fury here. No point talking about them in the legend stage either. Might as well wait until playoffs where they got to the semi-finals.
Where they oh god,
they bottled it.
It hurt me. It physically hurt me. Like, the Navi game was insane. So this is kind of where we can talk about we'll talk about the crowd as we lead into this, but that was the most insane game of Counter-Strike I've ever seen in my entire life. That crowd was the most insane, like, ever. Anything I've ever seen. They were nuts. It was nuts. And it was so exciting to see that happen. And after they lost that first map, like, you could just see it that it was like, no, this is still Furious. Like, it was close, but like you could tell that it was going to be Furious game. Mm-hmm. And they did, and they rallied, and the crowd rallied, and they would sing and chant. It was nuts. So I was very impressed. I was impressed constantly by these people. So
yeah, I was watching it in Discord with a few friends, and we were like, no, like, Navi are gonna come back, and then like Fury were just like slowly closing the door on them. It was shutting out more and more, and we are like, oh shit, Navi are out of the major, and like it's Fury doing it like comfortably, like the way they closed it out on Mirage, like it was damn impressive. And like,
oh yeah,
the main thing I had like one main thing I want to say about Fury. Yeah, Quesarado is that fucking guy.
Dude, he's so good.
So
finally, Quesarado gets like the respect that he deserves after so many years of like all of his decisions, all the things he did. way back to refusing the acquisition from MIBR to join Fallen and everyone, staying on this Furia team. Like, he did it. He is that guy. And this Furia team is going to only continue going strength to strength to strength. Like,
Yeah.
Drop had his first full year in Top Pro. This team is going to really do wonders. And I think in Paris, they're going to do even better.
Yeah, because I was pretty worried about Case Cerrado before the player break. Like in Cologne, like the game that they got eliminated to Liquid, I was talking to some of the Brazilians. They're like, "Oh yeah, he was sick today. Like he's not been well recently, and like his form had fallen off big time." And I think I was talking to Gehi about it. He was like, Case Cerrado, he's gonna bounce back, and man, has he bounced back since that player break. He has been
absolutely
so damn good.
Speaking of players that have been sick, funny tidbit. I actually have two funny tidbits here. One on about Liquid. OC actually did not play the Navi game on his account.
Of course he didn't.
So it turns out his account got some Overwatch ban or something happened.
Or was he banned on LAN?
No, he was not banned on LAN, but there was some issue with his account that he literally couldn't play, and they used Joka Steve's account to play.
Could you imagine if you had to like keep using that for the major and the trophy goes to the Joka Steve account?
I think he got it back, so it was good. And then the other one was the morning of the Navi game. Apparently, Elige caught a bug, like a stomach bug or something. Was up all night, threw up all morning. Comes to the arena, looks just like sick as shit, and he beat Navi. So
he beat Navi, like literally, like that comeback. That comeback was on his back. The multi-frag after multi-frag.
It was insane.
He was insane. Like that's the big like quickly going back to Liquid. That was a massive disappointing point for me. Was that Elige, like Yikinder obviously hadn't stepped up. Elige did step up. Absolutely dominated them, and I think the next map that he played was against Heroic, and he got like 4 frags, and he just never came back. Like he was just gone for the rest of the event.
You know, I did make fun of him after. I was like, you know, you should have just started throwing up more pre-game. You just every game just pull trigger.
Every game is his flu game. That's the flu game.
It's the flu game. It is. I wanted to write about it. I want to like. I think if Liquid made playoffs or if they like actually made it to the major final, I would have written about it. Because I don't. It's unfortunately not that significant. But like the flu game, like the revival, the time when Liquid knew they could win. It was when Elige got sick, threw up all morning, and like do a whole like good piece of like. This is how Liquid have won the major. It started with the flu. Like, it would have been a great piece. I would have actually had a great time. But yeah. So, and then Furia 3-0. Like, Furia is good. So, yeah. So, the playoffs, and then the Heroic game was tough. That Heroic game, they looked so good on their opponent's map pick. And then they just, they blew, what was it, Ancient? Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, they blew Ancient.
They blew Ancient in overtime.
And then they came back. And then they blew it again. It was like, and then playing Nuke, it was over. The crowd knew. Here's the other thing. The crowd knew it was over. The crowd had nothing to cheer about. They died so fast, and I've never seen the Brazilian crowd die. And I think after 2 weeks, I think after just so long of this team, like, grinding out, and so long after the entire audience like was looking for it, the letdown of losing in overtime was just they were like it's over, it's time. Like
they ran out of steam.
Brazil is done, and this is the sweet death that we are given. It was almost kind of poetic if I didn't fucking hate it so much. Like I just like there's something poetic about the fail. Like you come all the way so close just to end it. Oh no, wait, we have a whole other map. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, I was like, I hate all of this. Like I went back to the press room. I was like, I can't watch this game. Fuck this. This sucks.
No, Nuke was so hard to watch. Like you could tell, like they 10 rounds on T side. Like you're done for at that point.
No, it was bad overall. Drop had one of his worst games. Like it just that was the thing is that Drop needed to show up again. He had been showing up, and with him not doing that, like it really was the team dying. So
Yuri kind of fell off towards playoffs considering the form that he was in for Legends stage. I think he was like the highest rated player. It was either Challengers or Legends that he was like the highest rated player at the tournament. And then like he went like Caserado kept up his form for the playoff games and it just seemed like
Caserado had a 140 in Challenger stage. He had a 140. That's
yeah.
fucking nuts.
What was Yuri at? Yuri
And
was at
then
something high as well, I'm pretty sure, before playoffs.
No. Well, maybe. I actually can't tell this quickly as I search through HLTV.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, James did not deserve the HLT MVP. It should have gone to Caserado. I firmly believe that. That or Shiro, honestly.
No. Yeah, you can't. I don't think you can give it to
Shiro
a
had
player
a
that doesn't.
145 and then like a 135.
How
Like,
can I don't know. You can't give it to a player that didn't make the finals
why not? You
because
did good.
you're not the most valuable player at the tournament if your team's not winning.
You're the most valuable player to the team.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, let Furia give him a little award then. Don't give him the HLTV one. It has to be someone in the finals. I will always stick by that.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, and then the major final. I mean, we don't have to cover it since there's no NACS in it, but that was just disappointing, man. No one cared. It was between the two worst teams. Like
No, I'm not having that heroic slander in this podcast. No.
Listen. I like Cadian, cool guy. Half the Brazilians liked him, half of them didn't, and the reason half of them did it was because all the Brazilian pros, I think, used to say that Cadian was like not a nice guy, and some of them also, when I talked to them, were just like, yeah, I don't really give too much shit. I don't really give a shit about Cadian. Like, he just sucks. Like, he's just pandering. He doesn't actually care about us. He'll forget about us the second that he goes back home, which, like, probably true. Probably very true. But like, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't excited at the major. And maybe it was me just like being my homer, but like I don't know.
I fell asleep towards the end of map 1. Like I genuinely can't watch outsiders play.
I fell asleep midway through map 1. I like, literally fell asleep in the press room. I laid down my head and I went, and I woke up and I was like, oh shit, we're in the 20th round? When did that happen?
So the thing with outsiders is like, I think I was tweeting about it and Harry was like, if you don't think outsiders are good or if you don't like outsiders, you don't like Counter-Strike. And I completely get that point. Like fundamentally, one of the soundest teams that we've seen and their style is like so unique and like the pressure that they put on you. I think Mike said it. He's like, they're the punishers of inconsistencies. Like if you're gonna make a mistake, outsiders will catch you. Like they will find you, which is like great. I don't want to have to watch it in a grand final. Like I will watch you.
I still don't care.
I will watch you at Challengers. I'll watch you at like the Legend stage when you're playing a team like I don't know a Furia that play an exciting round of Counter-Strike. But I don't know. I guess it's just like stylistically, I understand why a lot of people don't like it, and yeah, if I'm falling asleep during a major final, it kind of says something. I was very disappointed for Heroic though. I really wanted those guys to win it because, like I said about
they just
Liquid,
didn't even look in it at all, which was the most upsetting part.
Pressure got to them. Pressure definitely got to them. Like I seen a lot of stages where like like there were stages where like TSS was getting caught with his knife out. People were fumbling nades. Like Cadian was the only one that really kind of showed up, and like you can tell that he has a bit more experience than the younger guys. But I don't have any doubts that this Heroic team is going to continue to be good. Hopefully, we'll see them in another major final, but probably not for a little bit.
Yeah, probably not. It's just tough overall for those guys, and I don't really know like what a good like. I'm trying to think of like how this could go better for them in the future, and I think right now like they're not even playing in what's their next? Are they playing in the
they're in Blast? They're Blast.
All right, so are they going to be able to recover? They're playing Ninjas in Pajamas who went out 0-3. Oh yeah, didn't even talk about FaZe going out 0-3. Like I don't even know what I don't even think they know what happened. So obviously weird for that one. And we
That
have to
Vertigo pick was
just
so.
quickly cover since Twist is in A.
That Vertigo float at O2 is the fucking stupidest thing I've seen out of
That
Major.
was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It's
That was so crazy.
I said it last week with Mike. I was like, you float that when you're 2-0 and you're about to qualify. You float that when you're 2-1. You don't float that in an elimination game, especially not with the way you've been playing.
Yeah.
And like B&E, you knew that they were going to be damn hyped for it, and if they won that Vertigo, it was going to push them on. And like it's actually embarrassing. Like it's one of the worst performances I've seen from a team that's a heavy favorite. Not even just a defending champion, one that's a heavy favorite.
Right. Right.
Like, yeah.
All right, let's get into our Gossip Girl segment. XOXO. I think the thing that we have to talk about is the Sadakist situation. That obviously
one of the most confusing things I've ever woken up to.
That was nuts, and wild, and yeah, I think people wanted to handle the situation very contained, as really no statements, public things were said. Really, it's all kind of there. I think Sadakist has also said, he's not going to talk about it publicly. He didn't respond to comment. For everyone that doesn't know, the situation was, as we had been told, Sadakist was drunk. He was in the the talent relaxation area with our bunch of PCs and stuff. Gauls and the Furia team, some Brazilians were filming content. They had a disagreement. He, as Jackson said, threw a frisbee, I guess, hit a woman, ended up probably just escalating things, and it ended with him basically punching a TV, smashing a TV, and he got into a sharding match with Carmack, and then was told to leave, and police were called. Obviously not great. And yeah, so that was not a good situation. The thing is, drinking in esports is a lot. There's always a lot of drinking. It's a very tight environment. It's the culture is weird. And a lot of it, I think, involves too much alcohol in a lot of different facets of the esports world, which I think is influenced by a lot of young people, who are just kind of come into this world. They go to different cities. They're getting paid a lot of money. They're going to do new things. And some of that kind of freedom comes with alcohol. And I think it just kind of creates a culture and an environment where there is a lot of it. So I think it's really unfortunate. I think it's really sad, the situation that happened. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts, Liam, before I get into how I want to compare this to something else?
Yeah, it's just, for me, it's really disappointing because like Sado is easily one of the best Counter Strike casters of all time, probably even one of the best esports casters of all time. Like when you compare it to like other games and stuff, like he's so fantastically talented, and we've seen the issues that have kind of plagued him in the past. Like everyone knows like the stuff that he said on stream that got him in hot water years ago, which like there's no point bringing it up now. Like he's kind of repented for that, and like he went his time, but like it's still like a pattern that's kind of arisen in his professional career, which is really disappointing because you hate when like someone has all that talent and issues like this keep plaguing them.
Yeah.
So it's disappointing in that sense. Yeah, it's kind of hard to really put into words, but I'd be surprised if we see him back in esports again. Like
I think he's done. He's changed the profile. I don't think he has any interest anymore. I think he has a bunch of outside interests.
Yeah,
I think
and he's accomplished so much as well.
Yeah, like, and it would be a tragedy if he never comes back. And I think it's highly unfortunate. I really do.
Yeah, especially because he had those issues at the last major. Sorry, he had those issues at the last major as well. I believe it was like visas and stuff. Like he hasn't gotten to work a full major since like a long time, which is just kind of unfortunate that this happened here. So
yeah. Now the comparison, I think, is the problem is that Config did probably a worse situation, and like 100%. the community reactions to both, I think, were like on very different levels. Like because the config situation when it came out was super like murky. It was like config got into a fight, his leg is broken. How is this leg broken? Oh no, he's a victim. And then config comes out and he's like, yes, my leg is broken. All this bad shit happened, but it's not my fault. And it was like, but it was. And he like called Jackson liars, and then Jackson came out and they were like, here's everything that actually happened. You did do it. You were the aggressor. And when you look at that, I just don't know how the community goes and is like, yeah, you know what? Makes a mistake. He's going to try and learn himself better. And like, but he has like this giant history of being toxic, of being like someone that is that does these things, right? Like this is why he got kicked from other teams. He made a whole other twit longer like years ago again, where he was like, I'll come back. I'll be a better teammate. I'll do all this. It's like, okay, fine. Yeah. Like he's still a young person. Like let's give him credit. Maybe he's trying to reform. But with Sadakist, the comments were like, yeah, you know what? He should die. And it was just like very jarring to see how they were like, yeah, Sadakist, pretty shitty human being. And it was like, I don't know, man. He didn't attack anyone. He at least attacked like a TV. Now, did the TV have it coming? I don't know. But like, that was the only physical assault that he did was on a TV. And it's like I don't know. The conflict situation is worse. The Sadakist situation, and I have a problem. I think where how people are accepting of conflict back so fast, and at the same time rejecting Sadakist, and I think that's an issue.
I think it's got a bit to do with like personalities and the position that they're in.
Yes.
Like I feel like talent have a lot harder time finding forgiveness from the community than players do, because like players are the ones that they like idolize. Like there's a lot of like even like football players. Like I've seen some like footballers have done like outrageous things in the past, and like people are like, oh, can't wait to see you back in a United jersey, like to Greenwood, and they're like, no, Greenwood's the only top that Greenwood's wearing is a prison one, and people are still like forgiving him.
Oh yeah.
It's just a culture with like sports, and I guess it's like it translates over to esports where like players are a lot like it's a lot easier to forgive a player than talent, and like we've seen other talent be like
I think it's
from
like
scenes.
I think it's a different personification and characterization of talent as more mature adults in the room, whereas players are seen as younger individuals, even though most of them are roughly the same age.
Mm.
And like I know of talent, like some talent are like 22, some players are 30.
Yeah.
And it's just like a maturity level that I think the community assigns to certain people based off of how they perceive the responsibility of their profession, which leads to differing outcomes when the same mistake occurs.
Yeah. I think that's a fair assumption of it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I personally feel bad for both Config and Sadakist, and I think that I think that the situations for Sadakist, I would like to still see him back. I have no ill will towards him or anything at all. I think that I think it was a mistake. I think he takes time, and I think he should come back.
Yeah, like 100%. Like I think it would be a massive loss to the scene, especially like just having such like a veteran, amazing voice like his go out like this. It'd be disappointing. I think for Config, the thing I feel most sorry for him about is he had to play with UKCS today.
I saw that.
Outrageous.
I was like, why is he doing this one?
Endpoint and rehabilitating former Charles players. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Okay, let's talk about the crowd. This is going to be fun.
Controversial.
I can't wait to do this. The crowd was good, and it was perfectly fine. And I think that everyone complaining about the crowd are whiny babies. I have genuinely like my problems with the crowd. What do you expect? You're in Brazil. They're a home team. The same thing happened in Denmark with Astralis. The same thing will happen in the US with Cloud9. When you have a popular team of the country, and when you are in that country playing a major important event, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? There seemed to be a over outrage onto Brazilians for this major that I think was unjustified, but at the same time, I can understand it because there were so many matches that happened live in front of an audience where those kinds of instances could occur. That makes it wildly different from other things before. We never had crowds like this size in a challenge in like the challengers stage and the new legend stage. Never had crowds, and so now they get to see all the Brazilian teams. Of course, they're going to cheer loudly, and of course, after like 4 or 5 days, everyone's going to be like, "Well, this seems wrong."
Yeah, so my take with the crowd probably isn't in line with yours because
That's fine.
I was hella disappointed with the crowd turnout, the way that's like if Furia wasn't there, they didn't
When
care.
when
Like
playoffs
um
or the first 2
playoffs,
stages that were sold out that were loud as hell for
play
10 hours a day.
playoffs
I,
because okay, so the reason that I'm saying it is because leading into this major, I think, and this is probably a lot of the reason that um I don't think people realize it's why they're mad, but I feel like leading into this major, there was so much talk about Brazilian crowd, best crowd in the world, best crowd in the world, best crowd in the world, best crowd
okay,
in the world, and then you look and it's disappointing. And look, I get it. Like I was there in Copenhagen after Astralis got knocked out. It was half empty, and like the thing is, no one's saying the Danish crowd is the best crowd in the world. And
was
with like the
was the
talk that
Brazilian crowd with Brazilian teams playing better than any crowd that you've ever seen before?
mm, I guess so. But
They
yeah,
they
but that's like
were when they had their team, they were the best crowd that has ever occurred in CS history. I genuinely
yeah,
firmly believe that.
and that's fine. But then there was like a tournament like Antwerp that was a neutral venue, and for like most of the playoff games, bar maybe like the first day, like the Thursday, which like the Thursday you can always let a crowd off with. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Antwerp consistently banger all the way through.
Okay,
It was,
but you had better teams.
yeah, and that's fine. It's just
You had the bigger draws. What was
I just think when there's a whole conversation about, oh, there's not like we need to get a football stadium for this, like I don't know. It's just
it was
disappointing.
hyperbolic. That was hyperbolic, and you know
No,
that. And
there
I
was
think it's
legit calls. When they
there
sold
was
it out that crowd,
not. It was disingenuous.
Fallen was demanding a
They
stadium.
no, it
I'm
was not demanding, and I think that's a disingenuous comment to
no,
make that they were demanding a football stadium.
no.
It also
If
sold
there's
out
calls,
incredibly fast. It
yeah,
also sold out incredibly fast. So I don't want to hear it. I
I don't.
really so disagree with
I
you.
okay. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people on Twitter and a lot of people were making it out to be. It was kind of disappointing, and it's hard not to be disappointed with like the crowd when there was no Brazilians, and it's like I get that that's the issue. It's just I felt like there was a lot of lead in, people saying it was going to be the best crowd of all time, and like I don't
Okay.
know.
So here's you know what I remember from the major from Antwerp? No one showing up on Thursday or Friday. And they showed up on Friday for FaZe Clan.
No, Thursday. Yeah, but that was the thing. Like when it was disappointing on Thursday in Rio, I literally said I was like, it's Thursday of a major. Like no one shows up anyways.
Yeah.
Like it
And
doesn't
then
matter who the
Friday
fuck's
they showed
playing.
up for Furia.
Yeah. What about Saturday?
And then Saturday they showed up for Furia.
Okay, before the Fury game, a
Who was playing
semifinal of a
who
major.
was playing that? That was Heroic
No,
versus Spirit?
was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Heroic and Spirit's a good game.
It's a fine game, but like they have no attachment. They're all Brazilians. They don't particularly care.
I don't
You're
know.
not in a neutral venue. But this is the problem. If you're in a neutral venue and it sucks, sure, but they're not in a neutral venue. You know what they were
Yeah.
all doing? They were all in the fan fest, getting drunk, hanging out in the nice 80-degree weather before they would go head inside to an arena to go cheer on Furia. Like
I don't know. It's
even the
hard.
fan fest was packed, but the fan fest was packed. You know what the problem is? Is the perception that the fans need to be inside of the arena. There was a fan fest created that was also a celebration of the game. That's where lots of people went because it was a better venue. It was not as loud. The in sound like was crazy loud. It like would hurt my ears. I couldn't be in there for more than like 10 rounds. Like my ears would physically hurt.
It just
And
sounds like a lot of excuses towards like defending it. Like
But that's what I'm
I
doing is
don't
I'm defending my point, which is
I don't,
defending this.
no,
I
but
don't know.
like
Well, that's such a shitty
like
way to make an
why do you
argument.
why? But why do people care? Like this?
What do you mean? Why do you people
What
care? Why do you
about
care?
about the fan fest? Like, if you're saying like, oh, all these people are going outside for the fan fest, then what the fuck is
Great.
the point of having it on the arena? Have it out at the fucking fan fest.
Honestly,
Like,
I think they should have.
yeah, then
Honestly, I think they should have just done. They should
and
just
that's not a
have done
good
it in a fan
crowd
fest.
if they're all out at the fan fest.
But
Like, yeah, it's fine. Like, they're having their fun out at the fan fest. That doesn't make them a good crowd
why does that make them a bad crowd?
because they're not in the stadium cheering on teams.
But why do they? Okay, but
If
I think the problem is this
but if okay,
expectation that they have to be inside of the arena to cheer on the teams. Who does that serve? Who does it benefit? Does it benefit the
the viewers
players, the
at home,
teams?
like you
Why
said,
do
how was
you?
my
Okay,
how was my experience watching it at home? This is my experience of watching it at home.
I think then that if your experience of watching it at home is determined based on how the crowd is, ESL can
Oh,
easily change that by inserting shotgun mics at the fan fest and collecting
there you
voice
go.
from there and pumping it into the stream. They should have done that. I agree.
Yeah,
They should
I
have done
agree.
that. They should have done a better way of integrating the sounds and the noise from the fan fest into it. But I disagree with the idea that them not being in the arena, like that's not a fan problem. That's a production problem.
Okay, then that's fine. That's why I'm saying like it was
Okay.
disappointing in that sense.
Okay, that's fine. But I don't think that can be a point to say that like Brazilian fans are bad. I think it can be a
I
point to
didn't say they
say
were bad. I just
you
said it wasn't a good crowd.
right. But that's
But that's not them. That's not them being bad fans. That's just like the way it came across on the stream. Like from my perspective, from what I'm looking at, I'm like,
right.
okay, this isn't the best crowd of all time, like everyone said, because I'm not fucking hearing them.
That's fair, but it was but it was the best crowd of all time when Fury played, and I think that's what I'm trying to say is that like the things that I don't think people understand. You guys got the viewers at home got to hear an insane crowd for 10 hours a day, every single game that was live on stream that was played in front of the crowd. You heard the banging of drums, you heard the singing, you heard the chanting for like 10 hours a day. These people got physically sick from doing this so much. The people that were in charge of like the ultras, they were literally physically sick after. So I think that you have to give them some credit for 2 weeks straight going ahead, doing it as loud as possible. They wanted to save themselves for the grand final. They want to save them for the Furia games. They don't need to. They don't chant and sing for freaking Spirit and Heroic. They chant and
No,
sing for their players.
the only point that I will concede is that I wouldn't fucking go to the grand final if it was outsiders. That's I wouldn't watch it outside the grand final.
Why are we blaming them for not going
No,
for? They still showed
you're
up. They still showed
downplaying
up pretty well.
Heroic Spirit was good, man.
Heroic Spirit, I can give you some credit on, but like,
I'm not watching a damn outsiders game. Fair enough.
I just the other thing is that like crowds were waiting 5 hours, literally, no joke, 5 hours to buy a shirt from the ESL shop. People waited 4 hours to get a signature from Fallen. These were all before the Fury games.
Did
Like,
anyone buy a G2 jersey?
I think the G2 jersey Brazil sold out.
Of course it did.
Of course it did. But yeah, no, like, but fans waited a long time. Like this was the thing to do it. It was cheaper finally to get the shop. They could finally do things, and they spent a ton of time at this fan fest. Now, was this a miscalculation by ESL in the way that they handled things? I don't think so. I think what they messed up on was that they should not have allowed the premium seating people inside of the arena to go to the fan fest. If you wanted to be in the fan fest, you should have bought a ticket specifically for the fan fest. If you wanted to be in the arena, you should have bought a ticket for the arena. I think it would have changed things. I also think, however, that like I know people that bought premium seating tickets for the arena and they never went into the arena. They just
Yeah.
stayed in the fan fest. And why wouldn't you? 80 degrees all day, nice and sunny. You can hang out. You can have as many beers as you want, and you're just chilling outside, and you get all the same benefits. And the idea of like, oh, well, let's bring Gauls inside, that didn't change a fucking thing. The armchair experts here of like, let's bring Gauls inside. No, they still didn't care because they could still hear Gauls' voice in the main speakers. Like, it wasn't I don't think it was a Gauls situation. It was this ESL did too good of a job building an outside fan fest that made the product so good. Everyone that was inside said, fuck this. I want to be outside. Like, that I think was the biggest problem.
Yeah, I think it's definitely difficult to like try and give your input. Like even for me trying to give my input, I'm like all I saw was through the fucking lens of my phone or on Twitch or
Right.
on like. So it's difficult for someone that isn't there to kind of like fully see it. But yeah,
And it comes down
I
to
think
a
it
production top problem.
I, I think the arguments on Twitter definitely went too far either way. Like people were like going way too hard on the crowd, but also the people that were defending the crowd, I think, weren't seeing the points that people who were disappointed with it were making. They were just saying, "Oh, you're just being negative for the sake of being negative." No, there was. I feel like for viewers at home, there was a reason to be negative.
The other problem I think was that people felt like they were just getting directly attacked.
Yeah.
Production
Oh
staff
yeah.
felt it, talent staff felt it. People there directly felt like it was an indictment on the major and their own performances. And I think it was hard because ESL put in a ton into this to try and make the best major ever. And I think they unfortunately fell short. But I think the problem was it also was a crowd. It also was a content problem. Didn't have the top teams. They are not pulling in crowds. If FaZe Clan's there, you're pulling them in. If Team Liquid is there, you're pulling them in. If Nip is in there, you're pulling them. Like if you have these top teams, then you're gonna get more audiences. Like if the top teams were there and this was the same crowd situation, I actually would agree with you. I genuinely would say that the crowd should have been there and they should have been better. This was bad. But I just don't see them particularly caring about half of the like Maus. Why does a Brazilian care about Maus?
Because they pandered to them with their jerseys. Like,
Oh. And then just the whole Gala situation as well. I don't know. I think that he was a big pull in a lot of it, and a lot of fans that I've talked to were like, "We're here because we found Gaules and we found Counter Strike through Gaules." I just don't know what detrimental effects that it could have had onto the like event overall as itself. But also, he wasn't a good caster. He's a streamer.
I'm just thinking that for the next major that they ESL do, they should do it in somewhere in the US, bring it back to Boston, have
Just
Flom
have
run the fucking
Flom. No, just do it out of like Las Vegas, and it's
fuck
just Flom,
Flom
just like
begging for gifted subs. Flom
five
begging for gifted
gifted,
subs. That would be
5 gifted, and I push FaZe Clan through.
my life would be complete. Watch, I'd fucking fly out for that major. Flom. That's how you sell tickets. Let Flom run a fucking
See, it'd be great.
Yeah,
All right, that's enough of our Gossip Girl
the
segment.
Gossip Girls.
Let's talk about the lone NA team in goddamn Finland.
Welcome to the Who Fucking Cares part of the podcast. Like, why is Eliza on like a couple of days after the major? Like imagine being Fnatic if they made it to the final and like they're contractually obliged to fly to fucking Finland right after.
It's miserable.
Like,
Miserable. I mean, that's what Radic, the
yeah,
HLTV photographer, that's what he did. And he's like, I'm dead inside.
yeah. I feel like a lot of Counter-Strike fans don't even realize this is going on, let alone building up the
Well,
excitement in it.
God, do we know that it's going on? Let me tell you, we got 5 best of ones to cover. I don't know how we're going to do this. I've set out the schedule. I think you have a game. I don't know which game
Don't
is
have
yours.
a game.
You don't. I didn't assign you a game.
Shh. No, you did. I did. You did.
Just don't do that to me. No, I didn't assign you a game.
All
You
right,
are
let's talk about the
so
games
lucky.
while we have them. So we have Complexity playing first against 500. What do you think? Complexity versus 500. Who's gonna take?
That's actually Complexity, like 100% versus the former Skade roster. 100%. It's Complexity.
Complexity Fnatic. I think Complexity might actually have because of the major hangover,
They could.
and it's best of one.
It is. They can always go down to vetoes. I think they beat Saw, and I think they beat Bad News Eagles, but I think
Bad News Eagles outside of a major. Like they're 100% beating them. Bad News Eagles are going 0-5 in this group. They're outside of majors. They've no reason to be good anymore. Back to losing to fucking nobodies. And Astralis. What was the fucking point of bringing Device if you're not gonna play him in the one tournament you have left for the year? Oh, I've been hearing so much about how much Device has been playing FPL, and then he can't play against 500. What? What is your point? What's the point of bringing him in now? Sell your jerseys. Sell them at the start of next year. No one cares. God.
So
I couldn't have any
brutal.
more
Holy
reason to
shit.
hate Astralis more than I do now. But yeah, like honestly, back to the point of complexity. I think they'd be hella disappointed if they don't do really well here. I was gonna say top
think
group. They can honestly top this group.
I think they go 3-2.
Think
I
so?
think my safe prediction is 3-2.
If you say they lose to Astralis, I will quit.
They lose to Astralis and they lose to
No.
Fnatic. They beat
They
Bad News Eagles, Saw, and 500. I would
I think
lay
they
so
lose
much
to.
money on this.
I want Astralis to go 05.
You know what the worst thing is though? The worst
What?
thing is that I'm going to try and find out what the rules are for this so I can figure out what the fucking tiebreakers are going to be. Because like I'm gonna like I don't know who tops what group, how do they
You'd,
top it? Or if
you'd
teams
imagine it's head to head, wouldn't it be?
it could be head to head because in
Sprout beat
group
ends
A,
and Sprout are top
yes.
with
I saw
tied
it.
points.
Do you think it's head to head? Okay. So what if it I guess that's the only tiebreaker that you need?
I guess if like you have the weird situation where, like, say example, like Complexity beat Astralis, Astralis beat Fnatic, and Fnatic beat Complexity, there's
No,
probably
but if you still beat the team, if you still beat Astralis, you right, it's if it's just specifically head to head, it should still work out.
yeah. But I mean, like, say if there's like this weird
If it's like a
if there's
three,
a
if
weird
it's like
circle,
if it's like two, if there are three teams.
yeah, and like they've all beaten each other, like, which is going to be like the cross that bridge
God.
when it comes to it, because it's probably a long shot of that happening.
Yeah.
But
Well, we'll
in general,
have to ask former Dust 2 US and Rush B Media writer David what the case is going to be there on the ground, since he's there for
disowning him, but
HLTV.
the fact that he's done one interview today and it was a fucking French guy.
Okay, give him some credit. Give him some credit. All right.
He interviewed a French man.
First big interview. All right. Apparently,
And he's French. Me and David collectively going around Antwerp just kept repeating the word French because it was funny that Vitality were there. They had the bus loads of people and never made playoffs.
It's so mean.
What are they gonna do? Get a relevant team?
Oh God. Hopefully, it might make Paris exciting.
Have you seen the Kenny S clutch from today, where everyone's saying that he's back, and it's just two guys from LDLC whiffing on him and like absolutely ruining the clutch by not hitting a single shot on him.
I have not, and
It's
I
fantastic.
can't wait to just not see it.
It's fantastic. I'm going to spam link you after this.
God. Okay,
yeah,
so 3-2, and then is that and then there's playoffs. So say they go 3-2, say they make third place, they play Ents. That's what they do, is that they play Ents, and then they would play whoever finished first of the group. Which I think that this is definitely like it could be a Fnatic one. I don't think Astralis goes, and I don't see Astralis like really making it. They're not best of one merchants. They're BO3 fiends.
They're nothing at the moment.
This is the problem. It'll be interesting. I'm very excited to see how it all works out.
I think that other group is far more difficult than this one.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I just realized
totally uneven.
It's just I finally copped on and realized, damn, that other group is actually tough. Like Gamer Legion and Sprout, Big Heat, like Havu are like whatever, but the other ones, like that's a damn tough group. And coming up against any of those in playoffs, I think Complexity can do well though. Like they should be back at the drawing board. They should have a good plan for this to finish out the year, because you're going into a player break anyways, where you're going to be resetting a lot of what you're doing and putting in a lot more effort over that period. So the time from the RMR to now is like what, like a month and a half. Like that's a month and a half of prep that you knew that you were going to be here. So they really should do well here. I'd be incredibly disappointed if they don't do well. Like if they don't make it out of this group, that is embarrassing away to the end of the year.
Oh yeah, no, and I think they will make it out of groups. But But I think what's going to be super interesting, and I know that we're getting super far ahead of ourselves here, but I had some fun today, and I actually decided to look at what the current Katowice spots would be, because you're going to go to Katowice for us, because God, I don't want to go to Poland in January. It
Did
sounds miserable.
Did Maku not tell you about the Christ the Redeemer in Poland? He has
No, he
Wi-Fi.
did, and he said if I come to Katowice, since we took pictures together at the Brazil one, we'd have to go travel to the Polish one and take them there. And he made jokes. He was like, the Polish one has Wi-Fi and a bathroom in its foot.
Oh man, I love Maku.
Anyways, for NA, Liquid gets through actually directly into the top 16 because of their EPT points. Furia also goes through. And then EG and Complexity get the 2 North America play-in invites to head to Katowice. So there are technically 4 NA teams that will be there because Furia is NA. And then 9Z actually, because of their performance in the major, has beaten out 0-0 Nation and the other South American teams.
Wow.
And will be, if things stand as they are right now, they would be the invite team to Katowice, which is huge.
I think nothing can really change before then, I guess.
But here's how you want to know how close this is. 9Z have 235 points. 0-0 Nation have 234.
Oh wow. Is there rank decay?
Yes, there is rank decay. So it updates like every week. But for Complexity, they have 216 points. The next NA team is Pain Gaming, who have retained their NA spot, which is, I think that's actually going to be up for debate, honestly. But they're counted as NA because I think that's their home. It might just be called their home region. They have 197. So there's about a 19-point difference there. So here's to hoping that Complexity play a few cash cups to get some EPT. They need to, genuinely, because it counts in the ranking. They need to play some cash cups to get the rankings up.
If they win here, it's a spot in the play-in as well. Like that would be a guaranteed spot in the play-in.
That would be nuts if they do win.
I think Complexity need a tournament like this, honestly.
So yeah, that is the other crazy thing, is that if they do win, then that means that 9Z, then that means that Pain Gaming would be the next NA invite. So we could potentially have so as the teams going, it would be if Complexity won, it'd be Liquid, Furia, EG, Complexity, 9Z, and Pain Gaming. That is a squad. That is a squad.
So, yeah, I'd like to see Pain Gaming there because I think they need a lot more EU experience. Like yes. I've noticed, like they always get to these EU events and then they just don't really do anything. I just want to see them like get to this event and actually like build into it and like perform well. Like,
yeah. But again, those are the only teams that would get the direct invite. Actually, is Liquid from North America. That's the only team that would get the direct invite. The Furia is they need to beat out Mouse, who have 907 points, and Furia has 813 for the world ranking to get the direct invite slot.
Okay.
So that's that case there. A little upsetting. I don't know if Furia. I don't think is Furia done for the year? Yeah, I think they are. So
yeah, they're not in Blast or any of that.
No, so that's going to be that. All right, but now talking about Blast, we can move on to Blast. This is going to be tough for Liquid. Their opening matchup is on the 23rd, and they are playing G2. But G2, who knows? Apparently, Kassad is going to be the coach.
That's a good
G2 now. Like Nell is saying no, that's not happening. But the report came out that said yes. Personally, I like Nell, and I put a lot of stock in what he says. So I'm going to say it's not happening.
I think it makes too much sense. Like Like the connection he
Well,
has with Nico and Hunter, and just in
Nico,
general.
Hunter, and then the GM, Pekka or whatever.
Well, I
Like,
think the big thing that could probably, if Nell is saying that it's not, and the only thing that could make me think that it wouldn't make sense is the fact that Huxley's the IGL and Kassad does not seem to be a fan of Huxley. And that's a good thing going in Liquid's favor, is that if there's any if
oh,
there's any
true,
IGL worse at
true.
fragging than Nitro, it's Huxley.
Actually, I'm now so in favor of Kassad being the new coach of G2. But yeah, so there's that, and then on the other side, it's Navi versus Fluxo. So Liquid are gonna get their rematch against Navi, who knows? Who knows how Navi is? Who knows if they even have SDY still? Because apparently SDY is only supposed to be with them through this major.
I'd say
And
he'll stick it out
he probably will
until,
stick it out for the remainder of the year. I think that's
yeah.
how. But yeah, I mean, Liquid already look a little bit strong there, so we could see better things.
I think this is the point to prove tournament. Like G2 have a point to prove, not being at the major, like having all this time, want
Yeah.
to go out there and show like, look, we can still be a good team. FaZe have a damn point to prove, going 0-3 at the major. Heroic lost a major final, want to go say like, look, we can actually win tournaments on LAN.
Yeah, but
Liquid
there,
bomb through.
I think Heroic, honestly, post major has the easiest group,
Oh yeah.
which is yes.
Yeah.
FaZe went out 0-3, Ninjas went out 0-3. OG didn't look particularly strong. That should be Heroics. That should be Heroics. And then for G2 didn't even make the major. Fluxo didn't even make the major. Navi looks incredibly weak and beatable at the major. However, they were better than Liquid since they qualified. So I would honestly say that Group B is a little bit harder.
Yeah, I don't think either group is particularly strong. Like, there's no one that you're looking at like, okay, these are like. But I think that's what I mean when I say this is the point to prove tournament.
Yeah.
No team here has looked incredibly stronger, like what they're capable of lately.
Yeah.
So this is the one that they're gonna all be thinking, okay, let's go win this now. Show that we're still on the right track. This major or whatever just happened to us, that wasn't actually who we are.
And you know what? You know what I will say right now, though, which I think is the most amazing thing, which I don't think I've seen at all happen in recent memory. Fluxo and Liquid play at a reasonable time. Fluxo plays at 10 Eastern. Liquid plays at 1 Eastern. We have been crying out for this for so much to be able to like have this, and now we do. So it's like actually fantastic. And I'm actually so now I have to write the congratulatory tweet to Blast the 2 days beforehand to be like, thank God Blast like is scheduling this when I can actually wake up and watch it and cover it during my normal business hours.
Yeah.
Instead of having to get up at 4 a.m. and call out at like 2. Oh God.
I'd like to quickly point out as well how like outrageous the HLTV rankings have become in the last like week from this
Oh, they're
major.
so dumb.
It's completely fucked everything. Like number one, number two, and number three are now outside the top five. All three of them are outside the top five after one tournament.
Furia is number 5. Heroics
Outsiders have
8.
1,000 points. They have the max.
Well, yeah, because they won the major. I mean, the HLTV
But
ranking is like
Cloud9 won the major and they were on like 800 points. They weren't even number one in the world.
Oh, yeah. That one was always bad. I don't know. I think it might be a new adjusted ranking. Who knows?
Yeah, I
Who
mean,
knows? There's literally basically nothing separating Liquid and Mouse. Only like 44 points. There's nothing separating FaZe and Liquid. It's just kind of hilarious.
broken.
And Complexity fell down to 24th while EG popped up to 20th. And somehow, Imperial got
Went
more
up
points.
one. Yeah,
Imperial went up one. I love that. Just genuinely incredible stuff. All right, so I think that I don't even know. I don't know if Liquid wins Blast, but I think that they do. I think they make it into like I don't know. I think they may.
I think this
I
is
don't
like
know.
out of the 8 teams that are there, I think it's a toss up between four. Like I feel like it's impossible to
I
predict
think they're
between.
going to be in the semifinals. I know that they're going to be in the semifinals. I just don't know if they make it to the grand finals.
I think they're capable.
Oh, I love that
But
hearing
that's
that
the
from
thing is
you.
like I just genuinely think between FaZe, Heroic, Navi, and Liquid, I think it's a toss up between those four. Like I genuinely can't pick one between those
I
four
don't think
teams because I
FaZe
don't know
has
who's
any
going to
shot.
show
I
up.
think I think FaZe is so emotionally shot, dude. I don't think there's any way that they like. I think they lose 2-1 to OG.
Mm, I don't know. I
I
still
don't know.
think they're a banger team. This is the first tournament that they've looked really weak, so I think they might bounce back. It depends what
Yeah.
they put in as well. Like they had like they stopped practicing for I think a while, and then like they had a boot camp for like a week before the major. They thought it was enough. Clearly, it wasn't. So it depends what they put in since then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
that's going to be our wrap up of the major, and that's going to be our looking forward to the last two events really of the year. We'll see if we even cover the Blast World Finals then. After this, Liam, we're going to have a lot of Premier to watch. We're going to have a lot of Challenger League. We are going to be
yeah.
covering that every week.
My boy's
As
ATK Spray was in the chat.
There we go. There we
Love
go.
those
But we'll be
boys.
covering all of that. TBD on next week, as it is the American holiday of Thanksgiving, and I will be traveling, visiting family. So if not, we will be back the following week after the Blast World Finals, where hopefully, if Liquid do well, we can get you Kinder on in a good mood. With that, I want to thank everyone who tuned in. I want to appreciate everyone that tuned into the YouTube videos for the Just 2 coverage on the Instagram, on everything. So thank you guys so much. Liam, you are at SlevOCS. I am at Ryan at Dust2. This was the 11th episode of the Double Doors podcast. And with that, we will see you next time.